Hello, welcome, good evening to our first Tech Talk in 2022. It's the premiere. I will host the show today and further on, and I'm happy that we have the chance to get the core developers here again, talking about the upcoming updates and what's planned for this year. And the title of this Tech Talk was Let the Show Begin. So if you like what you see, please press the like button, subscribe to the channel, press the bell button, and I say welcome U-zyn and Fushing here in the show.
Hey
Hi
everyone.
U-zyn.
Hi DZ. Thanks for having us. Hey Pushing.
How are you? So it was a very hard start in the year. How are you today?
We're doing good. Yeah, it's been a bumpy road the last few weeks, I would say. But I think hopefully we're gonna get a smooth ride later part of this year. Yeah, really excited to share some of the updates and hope to hear some of you sharing some of your ideas as well through this.
Cool. Okay. Then I would say we jump into the topic. We don't lose time. We have three parts, right? We have the Fort Canning Hill updates. We have the updates on the product side. And last but not least, some outlook to the EVM, where the most here are looking to this year. So let's start with the first topic and have a look.
Yep, we're gonna do in three parts today. Yes. Yep, let's start with that. So we're gonna go through Fort Canning Hill updates, and then Fusing will cover the product updates. Also very exciting on the things that's coming up. And then we're gonna end with some exploration on EVM. I think that's the topic that we have been talking about last year, and the team has been doing some exploration. So I'm excited to share some of the notes that the team has put up. All right, let's get started. So Fort Canning Hill. So we're gonna have a upgrade, blockchain upgrade this month. I mean, not this month, but in January. So we shared during the Twitter space yesterday on the upgrade timeline. So node release, it's on target for the week of January 24th, which is next week. Yeah, and the exchanges have been prompted on the timeline. And in between, so the week after the next week, there's a major holiday in Asia. It's almost as big as Christmas in the West, so Chinese New Year. So it's a really big one, and a lot of exchanges have their developers that celebrate that holiday. So they do request for like the upgrade for the hard fork to be ideally after the week of holiday, just in case anything goes wrong. They want the team to be there. So looking at this timeline, we're looking at the node release next week, and hopefully everyone gets updated by then. And the upgrade block targeting February 7th, the Monday. The Monday 2 weeks after that. So it's about 2 weeks of upgrade period. So what we're looking at for Fort Canning Hill feature highlights. So existing loan payback. I think this is a bug that some of you has encountered. There are some partial payback issues with the loan right now. So the current issue is that every single block, the blockchain has to charge 1 Satoshi, and sometimes when you do a payback, you get an error if you do a partial payback. So this upgrade will fix this, and every block you will no longer accrue at least 1 Satoshi per block. I mean, it can go into less than 1 Satoshi as well. But when you do a payback, it will always be down up to 1 Satoshi. So one example would be if you do a small amount of loan, that will require, let's say, that will charge an interest of, let's say, 0.3 Satoshi per block right now, and you pay back 5 blocks later. So that now, when you pay back five blocks later, you're gonna pay 2 Satoshi. So currently you're gonna pay 5, and even then there's some bug there that will block you from being able to pay back properly. So with this, it will make us even more prepared for a larger cap D tokens to be listed and people are taking small loans, they don't have to be penalized that badly, and will fix a lot of issues on the partial loan payback issue. And yeah, DFI the payback loan. So this is part of the DUSD DFIP that was put up last year in in December. Yep. So the payback loan will now take DFI as parameter to allow for a loan payback. So as per the DFIP, so when you pay back with DFI, the whole amount of the DFI is being burned, but the value of the DFI is taken as the price of DFI minus the 1% discount on the rate that's being displayed by the Oracle. So so this will create a lot of arbitrage opportunities for a lot of users out there. So I think a lot of people are looking at the DUSD premium right now. So now you know when it's gonna happen. So yeah, we hope that the DUSD premium will start to we'll get back to closer to $1 again with this feature. So let's hope so. And loan withdrawal, there has also been some feedback from the community where the 50% rule, it's kind of confusing when you take out a small amount of loan, but your collateral is huge. So this feature will now only take the effective collateral based on the loan that you take out. So the remaining unused collateral, you are free to remove. So you can add and you can remove collateral. If they are not used to back your loan, then you're free to move them. So the 50% DFI collateral rule is now relaxed with this. It will help to clear up some of the confusion with the 50% DFI rule. So native smart contract system. So for DFIP 2201, which has just happened earlier this year, that to allow for DBTC swap. So a smart contract has been created. It's not the trading complete smart contract, but it's more like a native smart contract. So instead of creating a one-off system to allow the DBTC payback, the engineers built something that's more versatile. So it creates a group of a system that can be expanded in the future if need be, called smart contract. So if any similar thing that's required in the future, it can be listed under this called list smart contract. So for right now, there's only one smart contract that we have, which is the DBTC swap into DFI when the backing is low. This should ideally not be used. It's basically an insurance system right now, but it will be available with the Fort Canning Hill updates. Also part of the DFIP 2201 that just happened this month, the bidirectional DEX fee burn. So DEX will now have the ability to charge a percentage fee on maker as well as taker. So as part of DFIP, 0.1% of the DBTC, regardless if it's going in or if it's going out from the pool, will be taken out and then being burned. So this will help to reduce the unbacked DBTC amount gradually. So this the way that this is being created, but it's using the governance system that will come on online later this quarter, but it's already built in there using the governance variable. So in the future, if the blockchain, the masternode wants to charge a fee for other pools as well, it can be turned on using an on-chain governance, so without any further hard forks. For now, it's only going to be for DBTC DFI at 0.1% as per the DFIP. So I think that's the key thing. It's not a major upgrade for the blockchain, therefore even the name is it's Fort Canning. So please do check out the milestone on GitHub. You can see the pull requests that are already there. There's a lot of discussion as well from community reviewing these pull requests. Some of it has been merged, some of it is still open for discussion, some of it is still being on the late stage of testing. So If you're technical, if you can go to GitHub, go to repo and click on issues and click on milestones, and you can find Fort Canning Hill there. Click on it. You can see all the pull requests that are related to this upcoming release, and please do your part to help review it as well. Yep. So that concludes the updates on Fort Canning Hill. Any questions on this from anyone?
Okay, so I have a personal question regarding the DUSD and the payback of DFI. So they remain in the system, the DUSD are not baked any longer with a loan. Are they tracked in a way in the background so that we see how many DUSD are there available without a loan?
Yeah, I need to check with the developer on that. I don't have it on top of my head. I hope it does.
Yeah, because it will be a great question in future, how many tokens are out there, because just counting the loans will not give you the right number then. At the moment, it's insured, but in future then there is a change. That would be my personal question here.
That is true, yeah. But at least the DFI, I mean, I'm pretty sure it should be implemented, but at least the DFI that's being burned, it's going to be tracked. But I mean, you can't work backwards because the rate of DFI would change. So ideally, we should also keep track of the DUSD that's being paid back as well from there, so we know how much that is not minted through loan.
Yeah, that's that would be nice. So in the chat, there was no questions regarding the Fort Canning Hill update. Then I would propose switching over to the product side. Fuxing, you can share your screen, and then we have a look there. And right, if anybody out there have a question, please let us know in the chat. I will read it and ask the guys. So, Fuxing.
Yeah, so sorry, can you hear me? I think there was some problem with my mic. Yeah. So sorry for that. Yeah. Let me get back the slides.
Yeah. Just thought problem was on my side, but okay, back.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. Okay, so recently on DefiChain product SDK, I think large part of the product ecosystem has evolved, and I think today the tech talk will be more focused towards showing what the SDK has evolved into and what three things that is cool about it and what you can do with it today. Because we use the same SDK to build the products that you see, and how you can utilize it is free for all the technicals that want to utilize it. So three things first. So recently on DefiChain products case, so DefiChain status page, then also the introductions of Ocean API documentation. We have the Ocean API for a while now, but we recently started to document more of the behaviors down. And I think more excitingly, some of y'all been asking about how we automate, how you can even automate the DEX swap. So the same functions that you use on your phone, the Light wallet, is essentially calling the product SDK. So how do you automate it? So with battery attached, how we provided an example on how you can do it and even deploy it into AWS environment using AWS Lambda. So yeah, like jumping into that status page. So this is something that we're working on for a few weeks now, which is the status.defichain.com. So statuspage.defichain.com, it gives you an overview of the blockchain. It gives you an overview of blockchain of operating status of the blockchain. So we have the blockchain mainnet. So it will constantly check on the blockchain mainnet. And by now, Ocean API has somewhat become a staple of the DefiChain ecosystem. So Ocean API is part of that status, which in itself has multiple deployments around the world, and we have three main regional edges, which is the Germany edge, the States, and we have it in Singapore. So it covers a very well triangle dome of the globe. And if you are anywhere around in the Earth, the world, then you just like piggyback on nearest region. So when one of the region goes down, what it does is just reroutes the traffic from let's say Germany to United States, and maybe from United States to Singapore. Yep, so that is status page. So yep, you can use it, and you can subscribe to updates of the status of DefiChain.com. Yeah, and we are always going to add more status as we go along. Yeah, so timely reporting of status. I think next on the list would be, yes, so jellyfish.defichain.com Ocean. Ocean REST API is somewhat of a global infrastructure project that is also part of the status page here, and is hosted by like DefiChain to simplify the building of decentralized application in the DefiChain ecosystem. Powered by the Jellyfish ecosystem, it extends the capability of the DeFi RPCs, which then provides more APIs at a very performant state. So this project is currently hosted at DefiChain Whale. So, but this project is not sort of something that you have to host it yourself. Anybody can call the API and get data out of the API. So you can get your wallet balance, you can get your token balance essentially from this API, which powers the Light Wallet and the DeFi scan experiences. So Ocean API, for all developers out there, if you want to automate, let's say a vault, you want to automate your API calls. So we are slowly documenting down based on by requests, largely related to, let's say you want to check your balances. So I think most people requested that, which is why we did balance first. So yeah, so do look into that. And for all the APIs that is not documented, they are all still being built natively by the team, which is part of the Whale API client. So it's a TypeScript client, and you can take a look at the project here. So these two projects that I'm talking about is the Ocean REST API. So the global infrastructure project gives you a very detailed document of how you can use it and how there's a library that you can install. So you can just run, if you're using a JavaScript or TypeScript project, you can run an npm install and get the project on your any JavaScript, any website you want to use, and effectively instantiate it and call it to get any data that we use on Light Wallet as well on DeFi Scan. Yeah, and all the clients and all the features. So let's say you want to look at, because they're all TypeScript interface, and they are all TypeScript interface essentially, you can use that to let's say you want to get loans information. You can look at the TypeScript interface and how it's implemented, and you can just look at the documentation and just query it. So yeah, it comes with all the TypeScript interfaces. Yeah. So last part, which sort of completes the story of what I'm trying to bring across, is products, SDK. Because now we have the infrastructure, now we have the API. So what can you do with it? So largely, other than automating that, so of course you can do many things. You can do automating token transfer, automating accounts, transactions. You can automate vaults activities. I think a large part of the previous implementation requires you to have a full node API. So that was what the status quo were. So DefiChain full node API is essentially the RPC by the DeFi that was used to authenticate clients to connect to running instance of DeFi. So similar to the blockchain D and all the other RPC layers, it requires you to maintain and have the node ready, which will becomes your wallet balances to automate, and that will automatically be tracked within the instance, the daemon. It is the easiest to understand, so you can just use a very simple query to get data, which is your wallet balances or your vault status or your DEX pool pairs. But it has some of the operational complexity. So you need to maintain your wallet data file. So if you lose it, you lose your full node data. You need to have you need to make sure that it's always up. You need to maintain the servers, and server maintenance is not easy. I think you ask any master node or any server admin out there that this is not easy to do. So large part of that then introduce this new automation process that you can utilize is the Jellyfish SDK. So if you see a arbitrage opportunity and you want to execute it fast, spinning up a full node API and automating a transaction might not be the ideal if you cannot have it always up to detect the opportunities as the opportunity comes and go. So Ocean API or the Ocean REST API together with the Jellyfish SDK of a global infrastructure, you can then, which is powered by the Jellyfish ecosystem, it somewhat has a very little more complex to it because now you have to deal with private key management, but you don't have to deal with operational complexity. You create transaction for the swap, and you don't have to deal with managing the wallet data file because as long as you have the mnemonic or the private key in essence, you can then continue to use that private key for all your swaps activity. So, and I think recently I just published documentation of how you can do an Ocean DEX trading bot, which is a very simple bot that takes all your, in the example itself, it's a very simple bot that takes all your DUSDT and converts them into Doge. So this technical example or this bot trading program doesn't come with logic, doesn't come with triggers, but you can obviously implement the triggers yourself. So the program's instructions is very simple in design. It takes all your DUSDT and converts it into Doge. So you can create your own triggers based on price detection and then trigger this bot. So this program has somewhat of the ability to just deploy AWS Lambda and is compiled in one package and you can deploy it anywhere. So yeah, so this is what Jellyfish SDK can already do, but now it's more in a documented environment. So Ocean DEX trading bot. So it's a very simple bot that takes all the USD and convert Doge. And the source code is just 1 page long. That's all. That's all it takes to do a transaction on Ocean API. So if you remove all the documentation, is literally just less than I think 50 lines of code. Yeah, and it's just creating a very simple instructions and submitting the instructions and then executing. So triggers, you can orchestrate the triggers however you like, and then you can trigger the trade. So a more advanced example, which was part of DFIP 2201A, which burning also can be found because that was the same engineering. This is the same exact code that is being used for the bot to burn the BTC. So yeah, that's pretty much what I have for the DefiChain products ecosystem. And yeah.
Thanks for presenting. So now new bots will build up in future. I'm pretty sure that some bots are still running a few weeks and months in the background because if you have a look on, for example, the pool ratios over two pools, if we go over 150%, this will last one block and then it's corrected by someone. I have the feeling bots are running out there. Now it's possible maybe for more people interested in programming on Jellyfish, have a look. Really interesting. And maybe one question also from my side again. The APIs are now complete or it's just a development state? So will there be more API calls in future or that's the complete framework?
Okay, I think that's a very, very good question because Ocean infrastructure is a very tricky scenario because the answer here is we get millions of requests per hour on the APIs because there's a lot of people calling it on a continuous basis. And all of the APIs that we have are optimized heavily, meaning that you can complete the query in less than a second, and there is tons of nodes standby around the world to do that. So it's a very prestigious way of designing infrastructure. in terms of as long as the blockchain is running, the API is running, and you can query the data instantaneously. Yeah. So that therefore comes with operational complexity when you want to do something complex. How do we then make it fast, but make it highly available at the same time? Yeah. So we are always trying to come up with new features, but we always must make sure that it is always fast. Yeah, because it must power the light experiences, light and
Okay.
and the light experiences people expect things to be fast. So yeah, that's the Ocean API. Yeah.
Okay, maybe the question now coming up from Daniel Kleiber was the history is missing on the Ocean API. Is this correct? I don't know. I have not tried out to have a kind of history. If so, is it
Okay,
related to this speed issue?
I think the Ocean API was somewhat released, but we are not doing a full release yet because we are still testing its reliability on running on a large deployment stage. So we have deployed it on our edge servers, but we are not using it right now because we are still testing its compatibility with high throughput. Yeah. So it is released, but it's not ready for prime time yet. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay. So I think that's all from the questions regarding the product side. There was one question from Fabio, when NFTs? A very special one. Maybe before we
It's
start with
perfect
the
for my next
EVM.
section. Perfect for the EVM section, actually, when NFTs.
Right. Then we switch over to the last part of this tech talk. EVM, then when NFTs.
Okay, great. Right. Let me just share it. Okay, I'm just gonna like kind of like sum up what Fusing shared a little bit just now. I think Ocean API is essentially a very powerful API that allows. I mean, DeFi it's all about decentralized finance. So people are writing bots, people are writing tools, trading tools, and all that. Like currently on a blockchain, to do that, you have to set up a node and then you have to write your script and you have to maintain all these things. So Ocean API basically makes it, in a way, it's kind of like a very simple API that you can call, just like you would call an exchange or a centralized exchange if you would, to just do things without having to maintain node and all that, all those things that you do not want to do because you just want to write bots. So now you can do that with Ocean API. So for those of you who are developers, who are like traders who are used to writing bots, do check out the Ocean API. I mean, if you are new as well, I think it's very well documented, so you can learn about it. Quite simple. Yeah. So yeah, with that, let's move on to the next part, EVM support. So yeah, so EVM DFIP has been put up late last year. I believe it's on the November one. So the team has been kind of like exploring various ways on how to do EVM. I mean, we did also talk previously on one of the earlier tech talks also on what does EVM kind of mean for us on DeFiChain. So yeah, there are some updates on that. So so the last couple of weeks have been there's been pretty some road fun for us on the DeFiChain side. So I think that after the issue, the team did look into how to improve the code and how to improve the base that we have right now. So there's kind of a consensus in the team that the code base need a refresh. So it's currently built on a legacy code base, which is the Bitcoin code base. I mean, Bitcoin, it's stable. It's not meant to move that fast. So there's a lot of we're moving really fast. So there are certain things that kind of like not really tested that well on the Bitcoin side. So if you want to write tests on top of it, it's gonna take a lot more a lot more effort to do that. And at the same time, the 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 development's also moving ahead with like timeline and releases and all that. So there's always things to build. So the current code base is not it's not meant to move that fast. So that's why Jellyfish was built to, in a way, to kind of like do a cross check and do a safe checking on the code base that's being the features that are being built on DeFi chain right now. So Jellyfish has picked up. There's a very extensive test cases that's built on Jellyfish. So if you look into the code base, you can see that it's not only testing itself, it's also testing the blockchain as well for any regression. So yeah, unfortunately, the bug that we've seen last week or so, that wasn't covered by Jellyfish just yet, so therefore it didn't pick up on that. Jellyfish was only kind of like get more complete in the later part of 2021. So it doesn't cover all the features yet, but it covers quite extensive features already. So if, moving ahead, I mean, Jellyfish is going to cover a lot more features because we have to catch up with the development on the blockchain side as well. And now Jellyfish is stable, so we'll catch up on a lot more features and a lot more tests will be built better that way. So I mean, yeah, back to EVM. So we need a code base refresh also on the blockchain side. So the blockchain side should not rely on Jellyfish to test things, so it should also test itself. So modern blockchain code base is very important for us to move forward in a fast and safe manner. So shift left testing is basically a philosophy that Jellyfish is built on. Testing is performed as early as possible in the development lifecycle. So if it can be tested, it should be tested as early as possible. It should not be tested until it goes onto testnet or until it goes into mainnet even. It should be tested as early as possible. Even like you write a small code, you need to have a test case. If it doesn't, then it just get rejected by the automated governance tracking and all that. So it not only requires early testing, also requires a very strong documentation, and it should also be implemented in a very good doesn't involve too complicated code complexity that is very hard to understand or very hard to maintain. So all this can be implemented using a proper shift left testing methodology. So this is what Jellyfish is built on. Jellyfish is actually a very, very strong piece of engineering that Fuxing's team has done. We're gonna take the same approach on the blockchain side as well. We're gonna build on a more refreshed code base. So with EVM approach, I think it's a good opportunity for us to do two things at once. So we're gonna go into EVM while also at the same time look at refreshing the code base for us to get safer and also get for us to move faster as well in the future in a safe manner. So I mean, it's not surprising. So we've been talking about Rust in a bit. So Rust, it's a modern low level system programming language that's very, very similar to C++. It has a lot of safeties built in. It has a lot of shift left approaches to many things that are built in there. Like it will catch exception as early as compile time before it even gets into issues in runtime. So if you do for example, a switch, if you know programming like switch, if you have a certain case that is not captured, Rust will even fail at compile time to say that, okay, there's this case that you miss out. So you do have to capture all the possibilities on the code base side already. So I think a lot of safety is built in. This is what we think that Rust will be a great language for the core DefiChain blockchain to be built on. And it's true, like we've seen a lot of modern blockchain bases built on Rust. We have very good Bitcoin client, we have very good Ethereum client, we have very good EVM library that's built on Rust as well. We've seen a lot more system applications are built on Rust these days, and it's widely known in the developer community. So it's a very good, safe modern language to use. So we're gonna start. I think it's no brainer that we're gonna be. It's a natural choice for us to go with Rust as well for DefiChain in the future. So back to EVM. So EVM DefiChain, what does it really mean? So, and what do we really want out of this thing? So on the technical level, EVM blockchain allows interoperability with other blockchains. So, so we try to capture as much as possible the benefit of EVM to DefiChain. So apart from modernizing code base, how can we capitalize a lot more on EVM? So if you're going to take this major approach here on EVM, let's try to reap as much benefit as we can on EVM. So EVM on DefiChain, if you put in EVM on DefiChain, I think one thing that's clear for everyone when it was proposed even earlier last year is that it allows developer to write smart contracts to be compiled and run on DeFi chain. So for the first time, if you pull this out, if you if you pull this off, DeFi chain will be platform. It will not having to rely on the blockchain to support a new native DeFi instruction set to add new features. So it allows you to move much faster. So people can build things on top of it, like NFT could be built on it, like meme coins and all that could be built much faster, and we don't have to rely on planned upgrades to add new features. So I think for the first time, this is going to be very interesting. DeFi chain allow more innovation to be built on top of it. So features can be built as dApp, decentralized app by smart contract developers. I'm sure a lot of you are Solidity smart contract developers, so you can build on DeFi chain with EVM support. So you don't have to wait for months for features to be added consistently, and they having to plan the hard fork time and to work with exchanges and all that. So a lot of these things will be just built on top of the EVM layer. Yeah, and that will allow us to have a lot more innovation and a lot more fun on DeFi chain side. And we do not want to lose our core native DeFi layer as well. So native DeFi will still be there. Metro, also, I think it's also a great use case as well, that a new DeFi applications can be built on the EVM layer while it's being tested and used. And once it's mature, it can be extended as a native DeFi layer and goes into the consensus layer. And that way, everything is safe, everything is fully tested and used, even for a couple of, let's say, months, it goes to a native DeFi layer. So that way, I think we can move in a faster and also fun and also safe manner. And is EVM the end goal for DeFi chain? I think there's a bigger picture on EVM, right? So if you look into EVM as a whole, EVM has a bigger tool chain compatibility behind it. So MetaMask is one of the key. It's one of the key, I would say, an on-ramp into DeFi world for a lot of people. Now, a lot of people get into DeFi, the first tool that they use is MetaMask. I see some of my friends as well. I mean, you have DeFi chain, you try to get them to DeFi chain. I mean, the Like wallet helps a lot, but a lot of them, like, they see on the news, and the first thing that they do is MetaMask. They read the guides on how to use MetaMask. So EVM toolchain compatibility, it's a big thing, which I personally do hope that we can capture as part of the EVM toolchain as well. So if you just put an EVM on top of our code base right now, yes, we have Solidity smart contract capability. People can build smart contracts on top of it, but it's gonna take a lot more effort to be EVM toolchain compatible. I mean, I'm not saying that we're gonna be we should or we. I'm not saying that we should be EVM toolchain compatible, but I'm just saying that there's a lot more bigger picture on EVM itself. It's not just the virtual machine itself. It's the whole wider toolchain compatibility and the whole wider developer community as well. So ideally, if possible, I would love that if we can capture all of this as well as we go into EVM goals. So we can be Web3 compatible. We can instantly we get hardware wallet support, we get MetaMask, we get all these tool chains and all these things that we already have on the EVM side, and we can basically just adopt it on DeFi chain side, and we can move so much faster that way. Yeah, exploration of EVM Web3. So there are opportunities in the broader ecosystem. So when we first had this idea and we talked about it last year on EVM, the idea was to add interchain compatibility with other EVM blockchains like BSC, like Ethereum, like Solana, and all that. Yes, that's still one of the key goal of doing EVM. But also at the same time, we also want to look in Web3 as well. I think that's also a wider benefit that we want to reap there. And also we want to take a different approach as well. I mean, the product side is now shaping a lot of narrative on DeFi chain use case. I mean, blockchain is one thing, but a lot of people are looking at DeFi chain are from the use case side. People are doing liquidity mining, people are doing arbitrage, and a lot of we can see from the interaction from the community side on Reddit, on Twitter, there's a lot more sophisticated use case on DeFi chain these days, that people are thinking a lot on how to use DeFi chain to do things, how to arbitrage, and how to come up with, for example, like when we had DSD issues, like there's so we had some ideas, like Julian and myself, we had some ideas, and eventually this community come up with the best idea, and they get proposed and they get approved by community, because the community spends so much effort in using DeFi chain that um, it now covers so much more than the blockchain itself. So the goal, we want to listen to the community, build product that based on the community use case, and build EVM layer to support all these community-oriented approach. And the key thing is that, yeah, EVM, I think this is what a lot of people have been worried about. EVM, are we forgetting our root? I think, no, we should never forget our root. So DeFi chain, the fact that DeFi is there in DeFi chain, we should always remember that DeFi is part of us. So I think this is very unique for many other EVM blockchains out there. Like talking about like Ethereum, talking about BSC, they are EVM blockchains. They are not a DeFi blockchain. DeFi it's an application that built on top of EVM blockchain today, but DeFi chain is very unique in amongst blockchains of the world, because what DeFi chain is all about is just DeFi. So the DeFi tokenomics that we have even today for liquid mining, all that, it's very unseen of in many other DeFi applications out there, because the reward is being paid out in the native token of the chain itself, and that helps to also govern the chain, because you can run Mastodon, you can vote. So it shapes all this narrative on what DeFi chain is all about. So we do want to we must never forget that, and we should always keep that when we move into EVM. So we do not want to be yet another EVM blockchain. So, and Bitcoin core, I mean, Bitcoin is our core. So we always say DeFi chain is DeFi for Bitcoin. So we do want to stick with that as well. Play into this Bitcoin role for DeFi, and I think that's also a strong point. So native DeFi, it's our narrative. We do want to retain that. There's a native DeFi layer, so there's EVM layer, everyone can build things, and then we can test things. And once it's mature, it goes into native DeFi. I think do not want to forget that. And automation, I think that's one thing that we don't really see on many EVM blockchain today. Like auto rewards payout, we take it for granted. Like you do liquidity mining, you get reward in your wallet automatically. You don't even have to claim. You just take it for granted. But I mean, we all just take it for granted these days. But if you do liquidity mining on the other chains, you do have to see, okay, yeah, I'm supposed to be having this reward now, but I need to submit a claim. But if I submit a claim, it's gonna cost me $50. So how long should I wait? How long? Yeah, for DeFi chain, it just comes to your wallet automatically, so you just have to spend it. So yeah, so these automation are also what defines DeFi chain today. It's unique on the whole DeFi ecosystem. I think as much as possible, we would like to retain that. It's gonna be quite a challenge to do that on EVM blockchain, where automation it's not built in. You have to claim things. So I mean, if we retain that native DeFi layer, then yes, we can still have automation. So I think retaining these unique selling points are very key to define the next DeFi chain. So while we look at EVM, the team has always been reminded that don't never forget what DeFi chain is all about. And I mean, we're still at the exploration stage right now, and the plans being worked out. And yeah, more plans will follow soon this quarter. So the goal is we try to wrap up and try to come up with a concrete plan to build this. And the team will be sharing more details on all social media channels, and not just the final details, but also like along the way. So I'll be sharing the findings and all that. I'm trying to also participate a lot more on the community side. Yeah, and ideas are welcome. If you have any good ideas on what you want to see on EVM DeFi chain, do share ideas and what you hope to see, and we'll try to put all of this in there and see if we can come up with something that's really great for everyone in the community, and we hope to see a lot more decentralized app being built on DeFi chain. Yeah, so that concludes the EVM exploration. So yeah, it's this. There's nothing concrete here, but it's just also sharing the process and the thinking that we're going through as we go through this exercise. Yep. Any thoughts and questions from anyone?
Cool. Yeah, there are some questions out there. Peace and Naive had a question. Would EVM update affect the security of DefiChain? It's the most common question regarding EVM. You're speaking about never forget where we come from. I think that's the direction. What's your answer? Security?
Yeah, I think DZ, you answered it perfectly. So we never forget that native DeFi is still a thing. So we do not want to move away from the native DeFi security point that we have. So EVM just be a user or decentralized app layer, and native DeFi will still retain the same consensus security that we have that we enjoy today.
Right. So the DeFi applications currently running, liquidity mining, the D tokens will remain on the base layer. They will not move into the EVM layer, right?
Yes, exactly. Yep.
Okay. Another question.
That's what we're trying to do.
Does this mean, it's regarding the Rust, does this mean that the Bitcoin forked code base will be rewritten in Rust? Will the starting point be existing functionality provided by the new code base?
Yeah, we don't have a plan yet, to be honest. So the team has been exploring various ideas, including even writing new functionalities for the next hard fork in Rust, because Rust can be compiled as a C++ compatible module and then can plug into the current C++ code base. So and another approach is to start from a Bitcoin Rust client. There's quite a few that's very well written, like Parity Bitcoin. So there can be a base, and then we add the current native DeFi support on that code base. So, but at the same time, there are timelines and there are milestones that we want to hit as well on the DefiChain side. So we're not gonna be, the team's not gonna be no updates for like the next 1 year while we work on the Rust side. So there should be a separate team that work on Rust while we continue to work on the upcoming features for DefiChain. So we're gonna have on-chain governance coming up in Q1 and options and futures hopefully coming in Q2. So we're still gonna be bringing forward the current DefiChain to bring more DeFi use case and derivatives as well on DefiChain side. So with Ocean, I think it's going to be very interesting with all this trading that's going to happen on DefiChain.
Cool. Okay, next question. Will Bitcoin Atomic Swap and EVM allow Atomic Swap Bitcoin to anything else via DefiChain? So
yeah, I don't have
routing
right now, but yeah, I hope so. Yeah.
Okay. So
it's going to be very interesting. So if you can have like Bitcoin that can swap into all tokens on DefiChain that we have today, Atomic Swap will be available soon with the next, not the next, but the one that's coming after next. But hopefully with EVM, it allows a native Bitcoin to be swapped, let's say with a BSC or BNB token directly through DefiChain, because we have EVM support. So that's going to be quite interesting. And that in that case, then DefiChain becomes like a bridge across all these different blockchain, and also an aggregator of, let's say, DeFi services across all these different blockchain. For example, if we have Uniswap protocol on Ethereum side, and then we have some EVM pools, native DeFi swap on our side, and then with some BNB swap on the BSC side. I think it's going to be quite interesting if you can link all this together in one atomic swap. That's going to blow everyone's. I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully, you can pull that off.
Interesting idea. I have not thought about it, but it's interesting. There were some older questions before we started with the EVM topic. Let me have a look where they are. Albert Marbara. Do we still need an atomic swap when we would have a bridge BTC to dBTC in combination with the DEX on DefiChain? Honestly speaking, not really clear.
I think we still need it because on the EVM side, there is no BTC. There's no native BTC, right? So unless we are all gonna going to start adopting, let's say, WBTC from the Ethereum side, then we can do away with the Bitcoin atomic swap. Yeah. So I mean that we're still not clear on that direction. So we still have to explore further and also discuss with the committee as well on the direction to go.
Yeah, right. There is a community project for the Ethereum bridge. Yeah, that will be solved in future, hopefully, but not for the Bitcoin side. Yeah,
looking forward to that.
Yeah, the next point, Mario Schneidenbach, it's regarding, I think, the bot burning the DPTC. How will we know that all uncovered DPTC will be gone in future? So there is a point in future where we don't need a bot. And yeah, where's the point? Or when do we know and how do we act? There was especially also the question in the community, what will happen if we burn too many DPTC?
Yeah, the idea is we do not want to burn too many DPTC. So the code will be updated to support to keep track of the DPTC, and then the bot will be stopped once the burn it's completely gone. So we do not want to overburn.
Okay. So
yeah,
it
we
will
don't
be
know right now, but it will be added to the code to support it.
Okay, so you will code it in future, and then it's clear. Cool. Another question, Bernhard, it's regarding the ocean infrastructure. Who operates it? Yeah, the nodes of
You wanna take that?
AWS.
Yep. So they are part of a stateless fleet of services that it's pretty much I think there are some nodes that are operated by the community for their own services. So the DefiChain one, which is part of ocean.defichain.com, is part of the highly reliable fleet that never goes down, or its intention is that it cannot go down. So that is the reliability. But for some community developers that reach out to me, they because this project is open source, so they just run their own ocean fleet in itself. Yeah. So it's a trade-off between privacy and reliability. So DefiChain will offer the reliability. If you want the privacy, you can spin off those nodes yourself and host it yourself.
Yeah, I would like to add also, I mean, we briefly discussed and also foreseeing that. I mean, the end goal that we want to have with Ocean is to allow anyone to contribute their infrastructure as well. They can run it privately if they want to. We see some community members already doing that. And they can run it publicly if they want to. There's no rewards, just like what we have right now. But if you want to contribute your server to the Ocean infrastructure, I think you can do that. That's in the future. But I mean, if someone contributes a server that's not, let's say, fast enough to support the fast transaction, so that might be an issue on the performance side. So what we should be looking at is something a little bit like Electrum, where for those who are familiar with the Electrum client, right? So you can select, you get a list of community servers and you can select which one you want to connect to. So all of them are stateless and all of them has no access to your private key. So they're all safe. But currently we don't have that yet because we're moving in a way that we want to be fast and we want to be also make the live wallet experience really really clean and really fast. With such a wide usage, I think it's a job well done by the team. I mean, the goal is we do want to. I mean, you can read right now, just with some modification, but the goal is to allow Litecoin to select which server you want to connect to, and then you can connect to other servers as well.
Okay. So two new questions, and maybe then we finish about an hour. Can DXMR, I think it's Monero, right, be introduced? And is DXMR atomic swap possible? It's a Bitcoin fork, right? Or kind of Bitcoin fork?
Yeah, I don't know on top of my head. I haven't looked too much into that. I mean, it's a Bitcoin fork, but it has a lot more feature that's built in that support the privacy. So I haven't looked too much into that. So if you have some ideas, do drop in some notes on Reddit or on the GitHub site so we can explore further. You seem like you're pretty knowledgeable on this.
Yeah. Okay, last question I can also answer because we mentioned it before at the beginning. The DUSD update will be on the 7th of February regarding the loan payment back, and then the DUSD $1 parity should be ensured, hopefully. Okay, I think that's all from the community regarding questions. And we closed this first tech talk today. It's very late on the Singapore time. You are 7 hours ahead, so nearly 2 o'clock, right? I will let you go into bed. Thanks for participating. A really great format for me and the community to have a look into the development, what's happening in the background, and get a feeling what's coming next. I think we enjoyed it. Thanks for joining, and we will see you again at the next Tech Talk. Right? Cool. Then,
Thanks, everyone.
thanks. Bye-bye.